Every now and then, a group of people tries to rethink the very form of the automobile. Think the Volkswagen Beetle, the front-wheel drive Mini Cooper, SUVs, hatchbacks, trucks. These types of vehicles didn't always exist. They came to be because they served a purpose. They filled a need for buyers. They were answers to questions like, why can't we have a vehicle that can pull tree stumps out of the ground? Or why can't we have a car that's tiny on the outside but huge on the inside, like that tent in Harry Potter? But what if I told you that the single greatest form of the automobile as we know it is something we've actually killed? I'm talking about the station wagon. This video's been a long time coming. Many of you asked for it, so let's dive in. Just try not to get too distracted by all the wood trim and 8-track players. If you're into wagons and want to explore their roots, a fantastic source for this video is Byron Olson's book, Station Wagons, linked below. Between World War I and the Great Depression, cars went from being toys for the rich to essential tools for everyday people. This changed the very nature of the automobile. It wasn't enough for a car to just be a carriage with an engine anymore. From farm to city, everyone wanted a car. But there was still a gap, especially in cities. Back then, if you wanted to get into the city, you took a train. There was no Uber or Turo. Rich folks might take a taxi, which was still new, but most couldn't afford it. So if you were arriving at the train station and heading to a hotel, how did you get there? The answer? A station wagon. These early wagons were essentially ferry vehicles. Early trucks with wooden toppers, custom built to haul people and luggage from the station to their destination. This need gave rise to an industry of coach builders crafting these vehicles by hand. By the time car companies started building station wagons themselves, the key design elements, rows of bench seats, woodwork, and cargo space, were already in place. Then came Ford's game-changing move in 1929, a factory-made station wagon built on the Model A chassis. It was basic, but it was a hit. Others followed, like Dodge and Plymouth, who outsourced wagon building starting around 1933. As the years went on, wagons took on more style. They got roll-up windows, more aerodynamic bodies, and evolved beyond just being wooden boxes on a truck. One of the most pivotal wagons from this era was Chevy's Carryall, the forerunner of the Suburban. It had room for 8 removable seats, windows all around, and it changed the landscape forever. It laid the groundwork for both SUVs and wagons as we know them. By the 1930s and into the 40s, wagons were becoming more than utilitarian. They were stylish, with elegant wood accents and upgraded interiors. At the same time, outdoor recreation was taking off. Road trips, camping, long-distance travel. People needed vehicles that could haul their family and gear, and wagons became the go-to choice. Vehicles like the Buick Estate Wagon and the rugged Willys wagon evolved during this era. Notably, Willys moved away from wood construction, something that owners had grown tired of due to constant maintenance and refinishing. Plymouth's all-steel 1950 wagon marked a turning point, where wood became more about fashion than function. In the 1950s, wagons finally went mainstream. 3 things made that possible: money, highways, and folding rear seats. Post-war America was booming. Families had disposable income, businesses were thriving, and the new interstate system made long-distance travel easier than ever. Folding rear seats made wagons more practical and versatile, and buyers loved it. Wagons became stylish, luxurious, and fully family-oriented. Take the Mercury Colony Park. Just the name evokes elegance. Automakers like Ford, GM, and Chrysler were all producing eye-catching, chrome-laden wagons with room for the whole crew. You also had smaller entries from overseas, like the Volvo Duet or the Morris Minor Traveler, but Americans were doing it bigger. By the 1960s, wagons were everywhere. They were now full-size V8-powered machines like the Chevy Kingswood, Ford Country Squire, and Chrysler Town & Country. You could seat up to 9 people and tow a boat, all in style. Wagons got the same bold styling as sedans: chrome, faux wood paneling, and even aircraft-inspired details. Ford introduced innovations like the Magic Door Gate in 1966, a tailgate that opened both down and sideways. There were also compact wagons like the Rambler American and Chevy Corvair Lakewood that appealed to budget-conscious buyers. The wagon's appeal now crossed class lines. Wagons were the ultimate suburban status symbol. Practical, stylish, capable of handling the kids, the groceries, the holiday road trips, and still looking great in the driveway. But things changed in the 1970s. The oil crisis of 1973 sent fuel prices through the roof. Big V8 wagons suddenly felt like dinosaurs. Consumers shifted towards smaller, more efficient imports from Europe and Japan. Safety and emissions regulations started to affect designs too. Huge bumpers added weight and changed styling for the worse. Hatchbacks offered wagon-like utility in a smaller package, models like the VW Rabbit or Datsun 510 wagon. In Australia, the station wagon carved out its iconic niche by meeting the nation's call for rugged practicality and versatile functionality. Born from the post-war drive to conquer vast landscapes and demanding conditions, wagons like the Holden FE and Ford Falcon variants offered expansive cargo space, robust suspension systems, and a tactile, no-nonsense design that perfectly balanced family comfort with workhorse reliability. Built to haul everything from camping gear to heavy farm equipment, these vehicles embodied a hands-on, utilitarian ethos, simple controls, durable construction, and an ease of maintenance that made them indispensable on long rural journeys and in busy urban settings alike. Over time, as modern alternatives like SUVs began to dominate mainstream preferences, a devoted subculture of enthusiasts emerged, celebrating the unabashed charm of these once ubiquitous vehicles. Known affectionately as the Shaggin' Wagon, their cult popularity underscores a broader cultural nostalgia for a time when practicality and durability were paramount, and every scratch told a story of the open road. This cultural wave reached fever pitch in the 1970s, with the introduction of the Holden Sandman, a panel van and wagon hybrid that was less about family and more about freedom. Marketed to younger buyers with slogans like, "When you're hot, the Sandman combined the utility of a commercial vehicle with the styling of a muscle car, featuring bold stripes, sporty interiors, GTS wheels, and in many cases a mattress in the back. Unlike traditional wagons, the Sandman embraced lifestyle over logistics, becoming a rolling symbol of surf culture, rock and roll rebellion, and youthful independence. Today, both the wagon and Sandman panel van represent a golden era of Australian motoring, where function met fun, and a weekend at the beach began with a drive down the coast in something that could carry your mates, your boards, and your stereo in one unforgettable ride. Then came the 1980s, and with it, the minivan. Chrysler's Dodge Caravan and Plymouth Voyager, launched in 1984, changed the game. Minivans were more practical, more fuel-efficient, and easier to get in and out of. Sliding doors helped in tight spaces. They were built on front-wheel drive platforms, offered better mileage, and quickly became the new family vehicle. Wagons started looking outdated. Sure, some tried to hold on, Volvo with the 240 and 740, Subaru with its four-wheel drive wagons, but wagons were being edged out of the spotlight. Subarus especially found favor in rural and snowy areas and laid the groundwork for the crossover revolution. In the 1990s, SUVs like the Ford Explorer and Jeep Cherokee exploded in popularity. They were marketed as rugged, adventurous, and capable, despite rarely leaving paved roads. Wagons, on the other hand, were stuck with a suburban reputation. SUVs had higher seating, gave a feeling of safety, and looked tougher. Even if they weren't more practical, they had perceived value. By the 2000s, station wagons were nearly extinct in North America. Crossovers took over. Vehicles like the Toyota RAV4, Honda CR-V, and even luxury SUVs made the wagon obsolete. Europe, however, kept the long roof flame alive. Cars like the Audi A4 Avant, BMW 3 Series Touring, and Volvo V70 remained popular. Their roads and cities favored the wagon's smaller footprint. In the US, wagons became niche luxury items. The Mercedes-Benz E-Class wagon, Subaru Outback, and performance wagons like the Audi RS6 Avant or Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo. So, did wagons die? Not exactly. Did the wagon evolve into minivans, crossovers, and SUVs? Today's SUVs are in many ways station wagons on lifted truck chassis. But here's the thing. Station wagons were cars. That gave them a better ride, better fuel economy, better safety standards, and they were easier to park and live with. We didn't stop needing wagons. We just let ourselves be sold on something flashier. We traded them in for oversized, overstyled SUVs that rarely get used to their potential. The rise of the modern estate class of motorcar marks a refined evolution of the traditional station wagon, blending utility with high-performance engineering and luxury appointments. Once purely practical, the estate, or shooting brake as it's known in its sportier form, has transformed into a sophisticated automotive category embraced by both driving enthusiasts and families alike. Originating from British aristocracy as bespoke hunting vehicles, shooting brakes evolved into sleek, two-door wagons with extended rear cargo areas, eventually influencing a new generation of performance estates in Europe. Brands like Audi, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz led the charge, reimagining the estate not as a suburban family hauler, but as a high-speed grand tourer with ample space and athletic prowess. Models like the Audi RS4 Avant, BMW M3 Touring, and Mercedes-AMG E63S estate now deliver blistering acceleration, track-ready handling, and luxury interiors, all while offering enough room for the dog and a week's luggage. The M3 Touring, once a fantasy among enthusiasts, finally became reality in 2022, answering years of demand with a car that could hit 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in under 4 seconds, without sacrificing daily practicality. In Europe, where space constraints and fuel efficiency still matter, estates remain a popular alternative to bulkier SUVs, offering better dynamics, lighter weight, and a sleeker form. Globally, this resurgence is catching on among drivers who seek versatility without compromising performance, helping modern estates carve out a respected and growing niche that redefines what a long-roof car can be. So in full, let's hope the wagon still grows and remains a strong part of today's needs, wants, and desires in the car enthusiast market.